Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about domain names and web hosting. To start a website, there are two things that you need. Number one, you need a domain name. Number two, you need web hosting. So, what is a domain name and what is web hosting? A domain name is a website name, much like facebook.com or google.com or infotechacademy.in. Now, you see this .com, .in, these are called domain extensions. These domain extensions, the cost of a domain name depends on these extensions. A .com domain name usually costs you around 900 rupees to 1200 rupees per year. On the other hand, a .in domain name costs you around 700 rupees to 900 rupees per year. Now, like I said, per year. So the idea is you need to pay for the domain every year. So it's a recurring cost. Now, let's talk about web hosting. So what is web hosting? In the most simplest terms, web hosting is server space. But what is server space and why do we need it? Server space, to understand server space, let's talk about cloud first. Most of us today, we use cloud, right? Some people use Google Drive, some people use iCloud. Most of us use cloud. Now, the idea of a cloud is that your data is accessible from across the globe, not just one location, across the globe. You can upload your data in X corner of the world and download it in Y corner of the world. That's the concept of cloud, right? Now let's say you make your website on your laptop. Now you want people to access your website. So how do you think these people will access your website? Will you really give everyone access to your laptop? I mean, imagine thousands of people connected to your laptop and exchanging data back and forth. Is that something that you really want? No, right? So what would you do? You need to take your website and put it on the internet, somewhere on the internet. So where will you put your website? On something called as servers. Now what is a server? A server is a computer that is kept switched on 24/7 and is connected to a very high speed internet connection. Now the problem is the cost of a basic server is 10,000 rupees per month. That means 1.2 lakhs per year plus taxes. Now think about it. You just want to start a blog or an e-commerce website with say about 50 products. Now, do you really think spending 1.2 lakhs makes sense? Absolutely not. Before the cost factor, let's talk about something else as well. Do you really need or does your website really need the entire server? A basic server can handle 1000 small websites. So think about it. Let's say even if you spend 1.2 lakhs and got the server, still all you would be using is a very small part of this server and the rest is still going to go waste. So what would you do? What's the solution? So the solution is you will now go to a company like GoDaddy, BigRock, Infoban. Now what these companies will do is they will tell you that, okay, you know what? We'll buy the server and we'll give you a small part of the server where you can put your website. And they will charge you 3,000 rupees to 6,000 rupees per year. Now, does that sound like a reasonable expense? Yes, it does. You can definitely spend 3,000 rupees per year for your website, but 1.2 lakhs in the beginning? No. Now, let me summarize this. You want to put your website on the internet. So, where will you put it? On servers. But servers are expensive. So, what do? You go to a company like GoDaddy, BigRock, Infoban, and you buy a part of the server for a very small cost. This small part of the server that you've just purchased is called web hosting. So in conclusion, what is web hosting? Web hosting is a small part of the server, not the entire server, a small part of it. Why do we need it? To put our website on the internet. As and when we move forward, I'm going to take you through the entire experience of buying a domain name, setting up web hosting. I'm actually going to give you a proper a practice web hosting setup where you'll be able to experience everything hands-on along with me. Now, once you have set up your domain name and web hosting, what next? Now you need a website creation software, something like WordPress. In the next class, I'm going to tell you about WordPress.